All right, pre-L8, so we are going to be talking about the Pythagorean Theorem today. And once again, that is figuring out the long side, or any side really, of a triangle length. So the last few units we've been figuring out the inside degrees of the triangle, but now we're working on the outside and figuring out the missing side length of one of the sides of a triangle. So the first example that we're going to be doing is looking at this one over here with the 6 and the 8. So what we did in the assignment with the squares was we had to think, okay, so we realized that the area of A and the area of B fit into the area of C, and so that was able to determine what our value of C was. So we need to first figure out the area of A and figure out the area of B to be able to figure out the area of C. So once again, with a square, we have all four sides are equal to each other because that's what makes up a square. So if this side length is 6, this side length is 6, and to figuring out the area of a square, you need to do length times width. So I will write that out. Length times width equals your area. And in this situation, our length and width are the same. So that's why we've talked about squares and square roots, is because what you're doing is squaring that number, because 6 times 6 is the same as 6 squared. So I will also write that, which is 6 squared. So that's the same as the area in this one. So this is equal to this. And so then we need to solve for A. So 6 squared is 6 times 6, otherwise that's known as 36. So the area of A is 36. I'm going to put that up in the top corner. All right, and then we got to figure out the area of B. So in this one, once again, it's a square, so all same side length. So that means if one is 8, all of them are 8. And then figuring out our area is length times width. So 8 times 8, or 8 squared, which is going to be 64. So the area of A and the area of B are the area that makes up C. And so that's when we would do 36 plus 64, and that's going to get us an area of 100 in C. So then we can be able to figure out the side length, because what we would do is think what two same numbers multiplied together get you 100. And a lot of you probably wanted to say 50. But that's if you add those two same numbers to get you, that's going to get you 100. But it's two same numbers multiplied get you 100. And so that's when you would get the area of 10. Sorry, the side length of 10 for the side length. And so that's what you would do. To solve this for in the equation, what this is saying is, once again, the area of A and the area of B gets you the area of C, and so to figure out just C, you take the square root, and that's just a reminder of taking the square root of 100. Once again, thinking what two same numbers multiplied together get you 100. So then same thing here, but without the squares, I'm going to just write it out as putting it into this equation. So we have one side, we've got to find the area of it, so that's 7 squared plus 24 squared, and that's going to get us our C squared. All right, so 7 squared, so the area of the square that would be over here would be 49, 7 times 7. And then the area of this square over here would be 24 times 24, which would be 576. A big area of that one. And then so 576 plus 49 is 625. And so that means we have the area of A, we have the area of B, and now we have the area of C. And now we can take the square root of C to be able to figure out what our value for C, what our side length for C is. So if you take the square root, 625, you should get 25 for a side length for C. So this is equal to 25. All right. Okay, then we can have another situation where you guys are finding the side length not of C. So in this situation, we kind of work backwards. So we're going to have 18 squared still. Once again, our long side is always going to be our c value, or what it's set equal to. So it's 18 squared plus b squared equals 30 squared. Because this time we have our c value, but we don't have our b value, which is another one of our short legs. So if we have 18 squared, that's 18 times 18, which is 324. These are going to be some big numbers. And then we have b squared still. We still don't know what that is. And then we have 30 squared, which is 30 times 30, which is 900. And then we need to get this b squared all by itself, so we need to get rid of the 324. It's a positive 324, so to get rid of it, we subtract. So minus 324. And then minus it from the other side. We got to keep our equations balanced. So we got to do the same thing on both sides. So then we're left with b squared equals whatever 900 minus 324 is, which is 576. And then our goal is to figure out b. We have b squared here, so we need to take the square root of both sides. And you're welcome to use a calculator here. So then you would use the square root sign of 576. And you'll get b equals 24. All right. So now we do have all three sides there. And then last one is that it's not always going to turn out pretty when you do these. So if we have 7 squared plus 9 squared, we're needing to get c squared so that we can get our c. So the area, if we had a square here, would be 7 times 7, which would be 49, plus 9 times 9, which would be 81, which would give us an area for our c for 81 plus 49, and that's 130. So to get our c, so c squared equals 130. To get our c, we need to take the square root of both ones. But if you take the square root of 130, you get 11.4. So it's not always going to turn out pretty. But you can still do it as long as it's always a right triangle. So I didn't put my right triangles in here, but we were assuming all of these were right triangles. But you can't do this if it's not. All right, hopefully that's a good help, and now you guys can move on to the practice. Thank you.